Welcome back to the deep dive. If you've ever had one of those brilliant, really specific ideas for some kind of online community, maybe, I don't know, a forum just for amateur astrophysicists or like a super secure place to trade rare comics.
Yeah, something niche.
Exactly, niche. You probably hit a wall pretty fast. For decades, building a social network that actually worked was basically fantasy unless you had like billions in venture capital and just armies of developers.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It wasn't just a wall. It was more like a fortress. The whole barrier was friction. Friction everywhere. Designing databases, making it scale, dealing with compliance, and crucially, the money. Just tons of friction.
Right.
If your idea wasn't aimed at, a billion users, forget it. It got dismissed. You had to compromise, maybe end up with just a glorified email list or use some big platform that just treated your community's data as their product.
Yeah, exactly. We kind of accepted that the internet had to be centralized because building anything else, any decentralized alternative it was prohibitively expensive. But today, we're looking at something genuinely new, a kind of silent digital revolution, actually, that's just smashing that whole cost and time thing. So our mission here is to really unpack how creating a sophisticated, secure, custom digital space has been boiled down to, well, its purest form.
And that whole shift really hangs on this formula we kept seeing in the source material. It's a formula for like a whole new way of deploying infrastructure. In the equation, it's startlingly simple. One word prompt, right arrow AI, right arrow or your social network.
Okay, so we're talking specifically about this platform, Web4.community, and it sounds like it's redefining what instant infrastructure even means. This isn't just, getting a website up quickly.
Yeah.
It's treating the launch of an entire complex, scalable community databases, security front end, everything with the same kind of speed, the same velocity, and I guess guaranteed performance we usually associate with just like spinning up a basic virtual machine in the cloud.
It's a genuine revolution in just access, fueled completely by AI efficiency. It's the real decentralization of how the internet gets built.
Yeah.
If you can state your idea clearly.
Yeah.
The tech now exists to build it instantly. And that changes everything about who holds the power online.
Okay, that level of instant deployment, it sounds, frankly, like magic, but there's always something behind the magic, right? A mechanism. Let's get under the hood. What's the infrastructure model making this community VM concept actually work, right? To really get the scale of this change, maybe we should ground it in something familiar. And the sources kept bringing up AWS, Amazon Web Services.
Yeah, it's a good analogy.
So think back to the early cloud days. With AWS, you launched an EC2 instance, right? An empty virtual machine. It gave you infrastructure, sure, but it was raw. You, the developer, still had to do all the setup.
Absolutely correct. You got the basic compute power. But then you had to install the operating system, configure the network, patch the kernels, install all the software stacks. Set up the database server, web servers like Nginx or Apache, figure out all the security groups meticulously. It was faster than buying physical hardware, but still weeks of work before you could even start coding your actual application.
And the big insight here with Web4.community is that it completely flips that around. Instead of launching an empty box, the AI launches a fully customized, feature-complete, even self-optimizing social network, all based on just one natural language command. It feels like we've gone beyond infrastructure as a service to maybe architecture as a service.
That's a great way to put it. Architecture as a service. And this is where abstracting away the complexity is so important for you listening to grasp. We know what building software normally takes.
Yeah.
We know the sheer grinding effort. You need a specialist for every single piece. The database admin for the schema design, the back-end guys managing APIs, the DevOps engineer tweaking load balancers constantly, the security team plugging holes.
Right, a whole team.
That entire mountain of expertise is basically made obsolete, at least at the moment of deployment. The platform bundles all those requirements from the complex architecture down to the CSS for the final look into what they're calling an instant community instance, or ICI.
ICI, okay.
Think of it like a deployable container, infinitely scalable, that acts like a self-managing VM but built specifically for social stuff.
So when you type in that single prompt, what happens? The AI doesn't just start compiling code, right?
No, it executes this sequence of really high velocity, sort of invisible architectural tasks, and it finalizes the whole network in seconds. The first step, and maybe the most technically impressive, is what they call immediate interpretive design.
Okay, the brain of it all. Where the AI takes human language, human intent, and turns it into machine architecture, it's not just finding keywords, is it? It has to understand the underlying structure needed.
Precisely. It's understanding the ontology. Let's use that example prompt again. A decentralized trading hub for rare sneakers, featuring authenticated user profiles and a real-time chat function.
Okay.
A standard large language model might just give you a summary of that. This specialized AI, though, it immediately translates that into thousands of lines of requirements, architectural, database, front end, everything.
Wow. And what's involved in that translation? It must design the database schema automatically. Like if you say rare sneakers, it knows you need specific fields, SKU, condition, provenance, serial numbers, transaction history.
Exactly. Highly specific, probably non-relational fields for that kind of structured data. And it performs automatic database normalization to keep the data clean, generating the entity relationship models, the ERMs, that a human architect would usually spend days figuring out.
It goes deeper, though, right? Because the prompt said decentralized trading hub.
Right. That's the command for security and how transactions work. The AI automatically designs a resilient ledger system. It figures out the best authentication, maybe decentralized IDs via wallets, or perhaps high-trust OAuth 2.0. And it dictates specific, super secure API endpoints built for financial exchange, not just casual chat.
So it's basically doing automatic full-stack architecture.
Right.
In milliseconds. Okay, once that blueprint is solid, what's next? Phase 2.
Phase 2, zero latency provisioning. This is where the blueprint becomes real, physically real.
Right.
The AI doesn't have time to wait around. It leverages a really elastic, probably multi-region cloud setup to instantly spin up all the databases needed, likely horizontally sharded NoSQL for speed and scale and provisions, all the back-end logic.
Are we talking true serverless architecture deployment here, where the compute power just appears when needed, spread out globally?
Absolutely. It's not just booting up one fixed server. It's deploying potentially hundreds of interconnected, pre-secured serverless functions and endpoints. Those secure APIs, generated instantly, wrapped in high-grade encryption. The whole system is set up for global low latency, right from the start. No waiting for DNS changes or config files. The sheer velocity is the innovation here.
Okay, incredible. And then finally, people need to actually use it. So step 3, perfect front-end generation.
Exactly. The architecture is defined, the data is ready. Now the AI designs and generates the entire UI UX, the user interface and experience. And because the network's purpose, that sneaker hub, for instance, is so specific, the AI understands the user flow needed. It knows what makes for successful transactions, good community management in that specific context.
So it knows intuitively that a trading hub needs clear list item buttons, powerful search filters for all those sneaker attributes, and crucially, it has to be mobile first, right? Because that's where commerce happens now.
Absolutely. Mobile first is non-negotiable. The AI guarantees full responsiveness, full mobile optimization without anyone writing a single line of manual CSS or, React Native code.
And it even gets the look and feel right.
It ensures aesthetic alignment. A community for, say, high-end medical researchers needs a clean, serious interface. Data credibility is key.
Right.
A community for sneaker traders needs something maybe more dynamic, maybe gamified, visually richer. The AI interprets the niche's culture and builds that into the UI UX instantly.
Wow.
The result is just, it's astonishing. A complex, fully working custom social network deployed and ready for people in the time it takes to hit refresh on your browser. That's the essence of the community VM advantage. Okay, so if the first part was the launch, this next bit is all about the life of the network. And this is where it really diverges from even the most advanced traditional cloud stuff. The AI doesn't just build it and hand over the keys.
Oh, okay.
It stays on. It acts as the perpetual proactive operations manager.
So it's not just creating the infrastructure, it's like continuous infrastructure guardianship.
Mm-hmm.
We definitely need to explore what that means, having an AI constantly running the show, managing performance and logic.
Let's start with the big one, proactive and predictive scaling. The classic nightmare for any growing online service is guessing traffic and managing servers.
Right.
You either over-provision, waste a ton of money on servers you don't need, or you under-provision, and the whole thing crashes the minute you get popular.
Been there. I remember my first startup, we spent like 3 solid days just trying to get Apache proxy configured right for peak times.
Mm-hmm.
And we still went down the second a big tech blog linked to us. The idea that entire headache is just gone, solved in milliseconds. That's kind of mind-bending.
Well, the AI basically eliminates the need for manual monitoring or even human-set auto-scaling rules.
Okay.
It's running complex optimization algorithms all the time, often predicting resource spikes milliseconds, maybe even seconds before they hit, just by analyzing traffic patterns and how fast users are acting.
So if that influencer suddenly posts about the sneaker hub,
The AI sees the spike coming almost instantly.
but how does it handle the database side? Scaling compute is one challenge, but keeping data consistent while scaling a complex, maybe sharded database system on the fly, that's like the holy grail for back-end engineers.
And what's fascinating, according to the sources, is that the AI manages database sharding, splitting the data across machines autonomously in real time. It spots bottlenecks, maybe one shard getting hammered with too many transactions.
Okay.
And it instantly kicks off the data migration and rebalancing needed across the whole distributed system. This makes sure performance stays smooth, latency stays low, even if you suddenly get a 10x surge in users hitting it at once.
Wow.
And crucially, it ensures data integrity is always maintained during that scaling, preventing those eventual consistency headaches that plague distributed systems.
So the AI is effectively doing the job of an entire senior DevOps team and a database admin, but doing it proactively before things slow down. That makes the network just inherently reliable.
Exactly. Inherently resilient. Now, moving from performance to protection, autonomous security and compliance. This is another huge hurdle, especially for decentralized projects dealing with transactions or personal data. The security burden can be just insurmountable for small teams. Who can afford a dedicated security team and lawyers specializing in this stuff?
And compliance is just getting exponentially harder, isn't it? It's not just internal security anymore. It's GDPR in Europe, CCPA in California, dozens of constantly changing data rules all over the world.
Right. The platform tackles this by making security and compliance standard features managed entirely by the AI. It offers real-time threat detection. It uses behavioral analysis models to watch for malicious activity like DDoS attacks, SQL injection attempts, weird login patterns.
Stuff like that.
And when it spots a threat, it doesn't file a ticket and wait for a human. It automatically isolates the problem IP or account and neutralizes the threat. It's constantly patching and updating against new vulnerabilities without needing scheduled downtime.
Okay, but the compliance part, how does it handle different rules in different places? That seems really tricky for a global decentralized thing.
It uses sophisticated geo-IP lookups combined with cross-referenced regulatory databases. So when a user from, say, Germany hits the site for the first time, the AI instantly recognizes the jurisdiction, and it dynamically generates and implements the specific privacy controls, data handling rules, and consent pop-ups required by GDPR. User from California logs in, boom, CCPA controls are applied.
That level of granular, automated compliance, that's huge. It means the founder doesn't need to become an expert in international data law or hire expensive lawyers for it. The architecture is just compliant by design.
It's a massive shift in liability and cost avoidance, absolutely. But the AI isn't just fixing and securing things. It's also actively improving the product itself through AI-driven feature optimization.
Ah, so it's like a built-in product manager, too.
Sort of. It's the product management layer. The AI is constantly analyzing user behavior. Where are they clicking? What content do they actually consume? Why did they abandon that purchase halfway through? Which features keep them engaged longest?
So it's like running A/B tests constantly, but automatically and at zero cost.
Pretty much, yeah. It spots patterns that human UX teams might take months to even hypothesize about, let alone test. For example, if the AI notices that posts with high-res 3D models of sneakers get, say, 40% more engagement than flat photos,
Okay.
it might automatically suggest, or maybe even just implement, a UI tweak to feature that format more prominently. Or, conversely, if it sees people consistently dropping off after wrestling with a confusing menu, it can instantly adjust the layout to make the journey simpler. The AI becomes this perpetual product manager, always nudging the community experience towards maximum engagement and usefulness.
So the founder's job shifts then. Less about managing infrastructure and designing every little feature, and more about just guiding the overall vision for the community. The execution is handled by the algorithm.
Exactly. That's the core idea.
Okay, so when you crush those twin burdens, the time it takes and the cost involved using this AI-driven model, well, that's when you start seeing these potentially revolutionary economic and societal shifts, right?
Right. And the most profound one is breaking centralization through hyper-niche volume. Think about why the internet is so centralized now. It wasn't user choice, really. It was economic necessity.
Yeah.
The giant networks thrived because building a competitor required insane amounts of investment and time.
That friction was the lock-in mechanism. You were kind of forced onto Facebook or Instagram or maybe Discord because that's where the ready-made infrastructure was. Even if it wasn't a great fit for your specific group, you basically traded control, traded sovereignty for access to the pipes.
Exactly. That trade-off is now potentially eliminated. If Web 4.community makes creating a bespoke, professional-grade community trivial, if you can launch a full-stack, secure, scalable network with just a prompt, then the economic barrier to starting a truly independent specialized network basically drops to zero. And that ushers in this potential age of hyper-niche decentralization.
So instead of maybe 10 huge general-purpose networks dominating everything, the world could, theoretically, host millions of super-specific, perfectly tuned networks, one for every professional group, every weird hobby, every local interest. And that guarantees community sovereignty because the creators actually own the infrastructure, not some distant tech giant.
And that connects directly to maybe the most controversial economic claim we saw, the economic windfall. Zero development and maintenance costs.
Whoa, hang on. Zero development and maintenance costs. That sounds like pure marketing fantasy, doesn't it? Even AI models cost money to run and train, and somebody's paying for all that predictive scale and compute power. We need to dig into that claim a bit for you listening. Are they really saying the founder pays nothing for the scaling and patching, or is it just bundled into some kind of platform fee?
That's a really crucial distinction, and you're right to question it. The zero-cost claim is aimed squarely at the human capital costs. You're absolutely correct. The underlying infrastructure isn't free. You're still paying for compute, storage, bandwidth.
Okay.
But what is eliminated or drastically reduced is the need to hire, train, pay, and retain expensive teams of engineers.
Okay. So it's not free. It's automated and abstracted. The cost of human error, human labor developer salaries, QA testers, DevOps consultants, security audits, that's the zero they're talking about.
Precisely. And that's framed as a zero-sum game. It potentially eliminates the single biggest financial drain on most new tech ventures, that infrastructure debt, and the incredibly high cost of engineering talent. The AI handles the patches, the updates, the security fixes, the bug squashing instantly, continuously.
Right.
So the founder's investment, their time and money, is freed up to focus entirely on the community itself, content, moderation, growth, the things that actually create the social value and potentially the monetary value too. Maximized ROI becomes kind of the immediate default outcome.
And the speed of this model, the velocity, also enables something else. Instant iteration and future-proofing. Just think about the old way. Realizing you need a critical new feature, like adding video chat. That could easily be a 4-month project costing hundreds of thousands. And that delay. It can kill a growing community. It's a huge opportunity cost. While a traditional startup is painstakingly coding version 1.1, the Web 4.community network is maybe already on version 1.8, but here, iteration isn't just instant, it's essentially costless because it's done just by tweaking the prompt. The human bottleneck is gone.
Okay. Let's go back to the Sneaker Hub example. It launches, it's doing okay, but the community decides they need more trust for the really high-value traits. They want secure live video confirmation or something.
Right.
Normally, that's a huge project. Dev team meetings, planning sprints, coding, testing, weeks, months. Here, you just modify the original prompt. You articulate the new complexity, maybe something like add integrated one-on-one and group video conferencing tools accessible directly from user profiles, secured with AI-managed encryption and maybe meeting transcription capabilities.
Okay, that's packing in a lot of complex tech. Video streaming, secure encryption, which needs key management and transcription.
And the AI has to understand and integrate all of that instantly. The claim is, within moments, it rebuilds and redeploys the improved community VM. It provisions the necessary low-latency WebRTC servers, designs the ephemeral encryption key systems, hooks into the speech-to-text models, whatever's needed.
Wow.
This level of immediate, complex feature integration is what supposedly guarantees the platform is perpetually future-proof. Any new tech capability that emerges, maybe decentralized ledgers get easier, maybe advanced AR integration becomes feasible.
Yeah.
It's potentially accessible the moment the creator can clearly articulate the need for it in a prompt.
Yeah.
The only real bottleneck left becomes the founder's own clarity of vision.
What happens if, say, 2 different founders use very similar prompts? How does the AI make their communities different?
That's a great question. It touches on the core design. While the underlying architecture generated for similar prompts would likely follow best practices, meaning both would be scalable, secure, etc.
Right.
The front end, The specific configurations, the nuances, can be instantly customized just by making the prompt slightly more detailed or different. A more nuanced prompt gets you a more differentiated result. Plus, the speed of iteration itself becomes the competitive advantage. The founder who can iterate faster, refining their niche through follow-up prompts, is the one more likely to capture and keep the community. It shifts competition towards speed of execution, away from just having deep pockets. So if we try to pull all this together, synthesize what we've discussed, we need to address why this architecture is being positioned as, well, a singular choice for building future social infrastructure. It's a huge claim, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But it seems to rest on successfully combining three very advanced, apparently proprietary elements all at once.
Okay, what are they? The first pillar seems to be the specialized AI doing the creation, proprietary generative AI.
Exactly. This isn't presented as just any large language model. We're talking about specialized deep learning models trained supposedly exclusively on massive data sets about web architecture, security best practices, enterprise-level community dynamics, user interaction patterns, all of that.
Right.
This AI understands the difference between needing relational database integrity versus NoSQL speed, and it knows the exact sequence to deploy things for secure, high-traffic systems. It's an AI architect, specialized.
An architectural specialist. Okay. Pillar 2 is the ability to actually build that blueprint instantly. Instant deployment infrastructure.
Correct. The AI's design brilliance is useless if the physical backend takes ages to catch up. So this requires a really robust, hyperscale, elastic cloud backend, something capable of provisioning and scaling custom databases, APIs, front ends immediately, handling traffic across multiple regions without a hitch. It's the engine that has to match the AI's speed of thought.
Makes sense. And the third pillar, the one that makes it usable by anyone with an idea, is the design approach. Simplicity first philosophy.
Yeah, this is basically the user interface for all that underlying complexity. All the heavy lifting, the predictive scaling, the automatic GDPR compliance, designing the transaction ledgers. All of it is made accessible through just simple natural language prompts. The user, the founder, never needs to see a config file or a line of code. They just state their intent.
Right.
And the system translates that intent into complex operational reality.
So, okay, if you're listening to this, maybe preparing for a business meeting on future platforms, or you're just thinking about starting your own really niche community, what's the core takeaway?
I think it boils down to this. The fundamental promises of a platform like Web4.community seem to be realized, or at least aimed for. Flawless performance, instant security built in, and essentially zero developmental overhead. Your vision for a community, no matter how specific or ambitious, is technically ready to launch in seconds. The old roadblocks that forced everything towards centralization, needing huge capital, needing deep technical skills, those are potentially just gone.
The power to build these bespoke digital spaces perfectly tailored to unique needs seems to have been democratized, or at least that's the goal. It shifts the focus back to the human side of things, doesn't it? The content, the moderation, the actual quality of interaction.
Exactly.
Instead of spending all your energy worrying if your load balancer is set up right.
This kind of tech shifts the burden, shifts the focus from how you build it to what unique value you can actually offer your users.
Which leaves us with a final provocative thought for you to maybe chew on. If building a custom, secure, constantly optimizing social network can now be done with a single natural language prompt, what other complex human structures, things currently locked down by centralized systems, high costs, or proprietary tech, maybe things like specialized scientific research networks, or decentralized ways of learning, maybe even systems for local governance, what's the next complex thing that might be instantly provisioned and decentralized by this kind of AI architecture?